in a K-5 building.
And I'm Carrie Yates. I'm Program Manager for Literacy and English Learners in Moorhead, Minnesota, and the Heinemann office.
Hi, Erica again.
So we came together and created an online book study, more of a cross-country book study. So we came together online initially and met one another through another group that I had been a part of, a book study that I've been a part of in Voxer and Twitter. And I really started to brainstorm how I could take that framework and bring it back to my district and give my teachers that kind of same experience through Carrie Yates' book, Simple Starts. It really, really impacted me greatly, and I thought that I could really bring about stronger literacy leaders in my district. So I reached out to Carrie and Erica, and we discovered really quickly that we shared a like-minded advocacy for various people that we came into contact with. Myself, as I mentioned, were the teachers that I wanted to be able to work with to strengthen their literacy teaching core values and ability with their students. And really, well, there was another caveat going on in my district at that time. Many schools were getting ready to adopt new reading curriculum, and I knew that the building blocks of Carrie's book would bring about much more diverse literacy thinking in that endeavor.
So I read Carrie's book, and on Voxer we were talking about it, and I said to Danny, we should really try to do so. Actually, she said it to me, and I agreed with her. We should try and do something with this book. And so I work with pre-service teachers, undergrads, also with my grad students. And the undergrads, I thought this is the perfect book to kind of immerse them into thinking about, what do you believe in? What do you want to hold with you when you become a teacher, and what values do you stand on? In this book, every chapter asks that question in different ways. And so that was sort of how Danny and I got together, and then Danny approached Carrie.
And Danny approached me and asked would I like to do this book study with them, and of course I said yes, because one of the ways that I really want to advocate for children is by helping teachers just keep finding ways to take next steps, right? To keep growing as professionals and to keep bringing more balanced, student-centered, student-led literacy experiences to their classrooms. So we agreed, and so next we got to sort of grapple with this question of, so what tools will we use? We're spread across the country, and we've got some diverse outcomes that we want from this. And so we really kind of early on took on this idea that we were going to focus both on the concepts of the book, but also on helping participants grow in their ability to advocate for themselves in terms of their own professional learning. So this slide kind of represents a lot of the tools that we used. And the first one that we went traditional. At the heart of the book study, we decided to use a book. And the book would be like a framework for the conversation, the content.
So both groups we had our own face-to-face meetings throughout the study. And they were great opportunities for my teachers specifically to really delve more deeply into content in each chapter, and then begin setting their own personal goals that they could walk right into their classroom the very next day and put into practice.
And I had the luxury of the face-to-face meetings every week with my students, 14 class sessions once a week, so we were seeing each other every week. And so one of the things that we decided to do across the two contexts was set up Google Docs. I needed my students to learn how to use Google Docs, and this was a great medium to do that. So we had them sign up for different chapters that they wanted to be strong respondents to, but everybody participated in the sidebar conversations, and everybody at the end of every chapter produced a belief statement.
So we had the book, we had face-to-face conversations, we had the Google Doc, and then the next thing we introduced was conversation using a social media tool called Voxer. And what Voxer allowed us to do was to have either, let's see, what are my two terms, synchronous or asynchronous conversations in a closed group. And in order to keep the conversation sort of going and really vibrant and focused. Danny and Erica presented prompts from each of the chapters each week that would just kind of help people think about how they might focus their conversation.
So in addition to the audio portion of Boxer, the platform also allows people to type in their responses if they choose to in a text format, and also upload photographs. So this was really powerful within our group, because what it allowed was those undergrads were walking into classrooms, seeing things going on, and our classroom teachers were in their classrooms doing what we were talking about. So here's just a quick little clip from one of my teachers who, along with another teacher in our group, were so inspired that they went out and created a Donor's Choice project. And these pictures are the third graders pouring over some 75 brand new books and book bins. It was wonderful to see it happening in real time. Yeah.
Oh, and then came the big moment when we invited the whole world to join us in the book club, really. And we did this through a Twitter chat, and we hosted a 12-week series. So each week we kind of chose some key topics from a chapter. And we really had a strong mentor text and a strong group of mentors in helping us figure out how to put this Twitter chat series together, and that was the folks at the Good to Great chat. And how many of you have been part of that Good to Great chat already? See, look at that, almost everybody in the room. If you haven't, yay, good to Great.
Thursday night. Great.
It's the most wonderful, welcoming, educational chat you could ever be a part of. And so 7:30 Central Time every Thursday, except on the Thursday of NCTE, I think, and maybe Thanksgiving.
Those are the only 2 weeks they take off. And Christmas, yeah. So, and each week we had this challenge at the end of it, like, what do you hold true? What are your values? What do you believe in? What do you take away with you? And that was a big strand in our process. We also had this coming together of mediums. We had people reflecting on Voxer about things that happened on the Twitter chat, and it crossed different mediums. And really that was part of my goal, was to get my students immersed in using social media for something more than, just with their friends. I wanted them to take it beyond that. So that was a big deal. So you can see some of the conversation going on here.
And we're not done yet. We had one more platform, Google Hangout, which was just a fantastic way for us to see, literally face to face, the faces behind the voices that they were hearing and tweeting with all week long. So we launched the study with a Google Hangout where we could all introduce ourselves, and then we wrapped it up. This is a photograph of the wrap-up celebration where each teacher and each grad student, we all got to connect and talk about our takeaways from the experience. It was neat.
This was just an example. My students were really impacted by this, and when I still have them now, I have them in a subsequent semester, and they talk about this book being their favorite book that they've used in all of their courses, and I think it has to do with the depth that we got into it and the interactions that they were able to have. The other thing that I think it helps them to appreciate, because I'm not sure that all new people going into the field appreciate this, was to have a really strong appreciation for the work that teachers do. And sometimes they don't get to have that voice, but they really got to see firsthand people in Montana doing the things that we're talking about and really appreciating their dedication to children.
So we used a lot of different platforms, and it's time for us to reflect.
Yeah, so really my takeaway was just that strong advocacy that I had for my teachers really played out. I really saw teachers discover agency for themselves within their own practice and really get outside the four walls of their classroom and build their own PLN and make connections. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, I won't kid you, but it was truly the most rewarding work I have ever done.
Yeah, and so a lot of the same ideas from my students, and I think that they also found safety in the different tools. Like, they were finding their voice in different ways, in different mediums, and I think that was really important for them.
I think one of the things we've had so much conversation about is that it's not about the tools, it's about the connections and the conversations. But we live in a time when we have all these amazing tools at our disposal. And so our encouragement to you all is that what tool doesn't really matter so much as that you just maybe consider there are additional ways that you can strengthen and extend connections. And advocacy ultimately requires this really strong circle of support. And you're in charge of building that circle for yourself. Like, you have all these amazing options for how you curate and build that circle for yourself, and you can start today to strengthen it, right? By just introducing yourself to somebody or reaching out on social media or however you choose to do that. So that's
So-
our piece about our cross-country book
All
study.
right. So next we have Marissa.